name's Emma Thompson, and I'm very excited to be with you tonight. It's wonderful, because, of course, live television is always very exciting, isn't it? No, not really. Hardly ever, in fact. But I am excited because I've had a wonderful piece of news. Mainly for the women in the audience, but for the men as well, if you're into that sort of thing, you know, women. And the news is that the IBA have finally decided to lift the ban on the advertising of sanitary products. Yes! Right on, brother. There's only two small drawbacks right now. The first one is that adverts are generally produced by men, and they don't use those things as much as we do. And the other one is that you're still not allowed to mention the actual things that you're advertising by name. Okay? So they're going to be really great adverts, aren't they? You know, go out for that time of the month, try these new mm-ms. Yes, for that tricky, difficult, personal time of the month when women go a bit funny and start bursting into tears for no reason, which is why they can't hold a job down and probably should never have been employed in the first place. Try these new big-sized mm-ms, yes! And then there'll be pictures of woman going into an off-licence or something and buying a pack of these mm-ms and going out and suddenly being able to scuba dive. Just great, you know. I can't wait. I've never been able to scuba dive, and thank God for that, because apart from that news, this week, for me, has been a total series of disasters called Martin. And I wanted to be able to tell you about that tonight, but I came into LWT on Thursday with my story all about these problems I was having with my relationship with Martin. And I wandered into the office full of the joys of sanitary advertising, and I had a word with the comedy lawyer. Very funny man. Very funny man. Knows absolutely everything there is to know about comedy. And he read my story, and oh, how he laughed. And oh, how I laughed. And oh, how he banned it. Completely. Every word. I said, why? He said, I'm sorry, Miss Thompson, but there are simply some things that you cannot mention. So I'm going to have to try and tell you the story without mentioning them, OK? So concentrate. Now, the major problem with my relationship with Martin was that he gave me something. He gave me one of those little gifts that men so often give to women. He gave me a thrush. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Those little feathery things with spots on. A lot of women get given these little birds, generally by the man who has everything, and my little thrush was particularly irritating. It used to keep me awake at night, you know, scratching around like they do. And I didn't know what to do, so finally I thought, well, sorry, I'll just give it back to him. So I did. And that didn't work, because he just gave it back to me on Valentine's Day. And so I thought, there I was, saddled with this thrush, didn't know what to do. Looked it up in the Reader's Digest bird book, because that tells you how to get rid of diseases. Oh, no, sorry, that's the British Medical Journal, isn't it? What am I saying? Sorry. The Reader's Digest bird book, and there it was, under the heading, How to Get Rid of a Thrush. Amazing, and you're never going to believe what it said. It said, coat it in yoghurt, and it will go away. So I went down to the deli, I got myself a family-sized pack of Eden Vale and a paintbrush, and, you know, dolloped it on willy-nilly and sat on it. And it worked. I think it's gone. I'm going to have to wait till I get home to check. But that was the thrush fiasco with Martin that I wasn't allowed to mention. So, next thing, right, Martin arrives at my place very late, very drunk, OK? And throws up all over my leather batik work puff from Sri Lanka, which is fine. I've been meaning to throw up over it myself for ages. And I had a problem with something else that I'm not allowed to mention, my diaphragm. Now, you know, I can see why. It is an internal bodily part, and my problem's not so much not being able to mention it as not being able to find it. Because they're very difficult to locate, aren't they? I mean, for instance, what's your name? Theseus. Forget it. What's your name? Jackie. Now, Jackie, put your hand on your heart and tell me honestly, could you put your finger on your diaphragm right now, this minute, without looking? No. You see, it's a common problem. It's somewhere around here anyway, and it helps you breathe. Only you do have to watch it. If you get a hole in it, you get pregnant. Anyway, so that was the diaphragm, and I found it and made sure it was the right way up and everything. And after that, all the, you know, all the doodah, all the thingy, all the, you know, was fine as far as it went. Which wasn't that far, as it turned out. You know, we're talking... But anyway, come along, we can't. This is ridiculous. This is a size joke. This is pure. Oh, come on, let's face it. It counts. Don't cry. It's all right. I didn't mind, really. Honestly, I didn't. I had my glasses on. Everything looked smaller anyway. And I didn't mind that. But what I did mind was the NSU. And that's another thing I'm not allowed to mention. And we all know why, don't we? Because the National Seamen's Strike was on Thursday. You're not allowed to mention seamen at all, which is grossly unfair. Because it's a massive union with millions and millions and millions of members, and only one of them ever gets through. So there we are. That's most of the story that I was not allowed to tell you, and which I've told you without telling you. And I'd just like to say to you, Martin, if you are watching, I would just like to say that you are about as welcome in my home as a plague rat in Crystal Carrington's bidet. OK? And to the rest of you, I think the saddest thing about this whole affair is that I'll never be able to trust a policeman again. Thank you. Good night.